Hello and a very warm welcome to Saint-Denis in the northern suburbs of Paris, where the eyes of the world will be fixed on the Stade de France in just over 24 hours' time for the biggest game in club football. The occasion unrivaled, the match itself truly mouth-watering. It is Liverpool versus Real Madrid. It has the prestige, it has the calibre, it has the class, and one thing for certain is it has the history.
It's the Holy Grail.
The ultimate prize.
It's in our blood.
Our dreams.
They are the greatest club side in the world.
It's a passion.
A madness.
It's life, as it should be.
What joy!
The sweet smell of success.
Two giants of the game.
Two star-studded lineups, the best of their era, maybe the best of all.
We've been here before.
The glory. The pain.
Real Madrid, a team that always pulses with skill and grace.
Liverpool bring hope and joy, never complacent, always reaching for perfection.
What a super strike!
We know no limits.
We play through all barriers.
This is Liverpool's greatest team.
There's no catching Liverpool now!
But Real Madrid are always great.
The kings of European football.
We never give up.
Miracles are possible!
We always fight back from the brink.
A sea of red.
An army of white.
We are ready for
Estamos
Paris.
listos para París.
You can't take your eyes off this.
It's time to make it 7.
The European Cup is returning to Anfield!
Number 14 is on the way.
Once again, Real Madrid have won the European Cup.
A colossal matchup.
There can only be one champion.
This
This
is European royalty.
Well, what a game we have in prospect here in France's National Stadium tomorrow. It's Merseyside that meets Madrid in European football's showpiece fixture. And over the course of the next hour, we will look ahead to it. Now, tomorrow night, this stadium will be packed with 75,000 fans from around the world, and we cannot wait. But for now, it's us here alongside the Real Madrid team in training. They've just come out of the tunnel, actually, and they're training now for the course of the next hour. So we'll be keeping an eye on it in the company of Steve McManaman, Owen Hargreaves and Michael Owen. It is great to be here, finally in Paris. And Mo, what memories does it bring back for you being here? Because you've scored at this stadium for England.
I think I have, yeah. I'm not very good at remembering what games I played and goals I scored, but I think I did. Listen, it's a great stadium. We're a little bit concerned about the pitch. It's only just been relayed, as we all know, but it's a great stadium, brings back a lot of good memories, and it's very apt, isn't it, to have such a big game in such a great stadium like this.
2018, Macca.
2018.
Is that on the minds of those Liverpool players as they come into this final tomorrow?
It may be on the minds of some of them, and particularly people like Mo Salah, of course, who had to come off injured in that particular game. But the fact that Liverpool now have played in so many finals since, I don't think it will be a factor, to be very honest. Liverpool have won the Champions League since then. They've won 2 finals. As the press is shouting Karim Benzema. They've won 2 finals this year. They didn't concede goals. They went all the way into penalties, into extra time and penalties, and won. So I think Liverpool are mentally very, very strong now. It's a completely different outfit than where they were in 2018.
Yeah, and actually the world's media are actually here right now. You can't see it from where we're stood here, it's the other side. But they are very, very excited to be watching Real Madrid train. We actually watched Liverpool training earlier on today, didn't we? And that was a very relaxed session, would you say, Owen?
Yeah, I mean, they had a really relaxed session. You know, sometimes every coach is different, does different things, but they did a really relaxed one. They obviously did all the work in Liverpool. Came yesterday. I think Jurgen Klopp, the boys look, super relaxed, super chill. This is, you do a little circle there, a little chat from the manager. It's nice to get a feel for the pitch, Seema. When you come out, you see the environment, obviously, and all the boys, they took it easy in the session, saving it for tomorrow.
Is that how it was for you before big games? Relaxed?
Well, no, you'd normally train a little bit harder than Liverpool did, Seema. They came out, they did boxes, which is just a little possession game.
Crossbar challenge?
They did a crossbar challenge. They had a little pass to each other for 2 minutes and basically had a wander around and went in. They travelled over this morning and they basically landed and came straight here to train. So it was just a leg stretch. It wasn't you couldn't class that as a training session. That was a leg stretch today.
expected that?
Yes, Liverpool have played as many games, haven't they? And they had a hard game on Sunday. I know they had a couple of days off, and then they had the press conferences at the training grounds. So once they were here, listen, when you've got this many press in attendance, you don't do much. You never, ever do much. You know, you're not going to show anything or give anything away in front of the world's media. So everything's been done before. And as Michael said, it's just to get the atmosphere, just to get a look at the pitch. That's all it is, just have a walk around. The one thing you would say is Thiago and Fabinho looked fine, didn't they? And they were the one worries for Liverpool, or the two worries. And they looked perfectly well training out there today.
Absolutely. Well, there is so much more to come your way over the course of the next hour in our build-up show. We're going to actually hear from Andy Robertson because he sat down with our Michael Owen. But first of all, let's hear from Jurgen Klopp and some of the players as they spoke to Des Kelly ahead of tomorrow's final.
It's heartbreak for Liverpool, but it's 3 in a row for the history makers from Madrid.
You're all for positive energy. A grudge also helps sometimes as motivation. That works, doesn't it?
No, absolutely.
You understand that?
Of course, it's like, oh my God, we get a chance again. That's great, absolutely great. I just don't believe that it's enough. You only want to strike back. There must be other reasons. So I believe actually really that it's easier to run towards the sun than to run away from the fire.
For me, it's the best lesson that we ever got taught was that game, how to win the Champions League, how to win a final, how to win a game. The way they, took control of the game after taking the lead was something I'd never seen a team do before. So I think that taught us as a team a lot on how to win games.
You're seen as a father figure in that dressing room now, according to Trent.
Maybe to Trent, yeah. Not Robbo. Robbo looks older than me.
But you have that vibe, don't you, now?
Yeah, we all get along really well, and that comes with being together for so long, going through bad moments as a team, and then coming out the other end to then have good moments and success. You couldn't pick a better dressing room for me. It's an honour and a privilege to be part of this team.
Everybody who is close to football, is in football, knows how special it is what the boys did this year.
It's a win or draw, 60 games in a season is an incredible achievement for us. So yeah, we're proud of where we are, but we know we've got one last game, one last kick around.
It would be cool if we could bring it to a top end.
Benzema's header, what a goal!
He has a lot of quality. He's been outstanding, important with goals. He's their leader, I think, in a way how he presents himself. So yeah, he's a big player for them. But I'm not a bad player myself, so I will look forward to this challenge.
The quality that Madrid have, they can just change the game in a minute. We need to be at 100%, if not more, if we want to be able to come home with a trophy.
I'm the manager of this team, and I'm from my point of view, as close as it gets. I love them. But as a manager, you cannot be loved all the time. That's just not possible. So I have to make a lot of decisions which are not nice for some boys. It's really not easy for boys in moments, because being part of this game is fantastic. Being a squad of this game is okay. Being next to the squad is a catastrophe.
Well, we actually thought that Jurgen Klopp might have a few more decisions to make, some big decisions about his midfield tomorrow. But as you mentioned, Maka, he does have Thiago and Fabinho available. How important is Thiago to the setup, especially in this final tomorrow?
Well, I think he's really important, particularly the last couple of months. He's been excellent, hasn't he? He was excellent against Wolves. He was really important for the first goal the other day, wasn't he, to get Liverpool back into the game. I think his form's been great, particularly in the Champions League games of late. And you want everybody, in a game of this magnitude, you want everybody to be fit and well, don't you? And then may the best team win. So it's great that Thiago's back. And, you know, if he wins it tonight, I think he'll go along beside Clarence Seedorf tonight. If he wins it tomorrow, we'll go along with Clarence as winning it with 3 different teams, which is an incredible achievement, isn't it, for someone like him? And if you think about who this Liverpool midfield are up against in terms of Real Madrid's midfield, they're going to need him.
Yeah, I mean, probably the greatest midfield, you know, of this decade, without question. You know, Casemiro, Kroos and Modric, outstanding, special players. But he belongs out there. Thiago's an amazing player, can control the tempo with the best. I'm looking forward to that. You know, Thiago, Modric, that is almost the perfect battle. And it's going to be tough for Liverpool to win. They're different, but I think they'll control the game. But the thing is, with the experience that Real Madrid have in these finals, I think they'll hang in. They've done it all season. You know, did against Chelsea and PSG and Man City. They'll hang in there and they'll get their moments. And if they're clinical, you know, they can win the game as well. But in equal measure, Fabinho will have an important role to play, no doubt.
Yeah, he's the most important player in the midfield for me. I think he's one of the first names on Jurgen Klopp's team sheet. He breaks up play. He's very good in the ball. You know, he's energetic. He's got everything. He's got everything for a sitting midfield player. Of course, if he wasn't fit, then Jordan Henderson will go into that role. But there's no question he's one of the key players, and they'll be absolutely delighted, and we were all delighted to see him play. And I mean, a special mention for that in terms of Liverpool's squad. You consider how many games they've played this season, and every single member, bar Origi, every single member of the team are fit and been fit for the majority of the season. That's some going, not just from the players, but of course sports science, physios, doctors, everyone. It's unbelievable. They come into this game with such a fit squad.
Yeah, and they've played so many games as well, every game available to them. Look, let's talk about the defence, because Matip and Konate, now we were at Anfield, weren't we, for the last game of the season?
Yeah.
They started together in defence against Wolves on the final day of the Premier League season. If that was an audition for who might start alongside Virgil van Dijk, who came out on top?
Well, Konate made a mistake for the goal, didn't he? So that's never good. He got caught under the ball. I think Matip will start. I personally don't think it's much of a question about selection. I think Matip's been excellent and he's got more experience and he deserves to play. I think Konate's been good.
What about Konate's pace, though?
Yeah, but Virgil's just as quick. I don't think Benzema's lightning. Of course, Vinicius Junior is quick, and he'll play on Trent, and Trent can handle him like Kyle Walker handled him in the last round. So I don't necessarily think you'll have to worry overly about the pace of Benzema over the top. I think Liverpool can cope well enough.
I think there's been
Matip will play.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of talk about, obviously, Vinicius and Trent, that battle down the flank, potentially deciding this final. In which case, would you not need Konate's pace?
Do you think he'll play? Do you think he'll play?
No, I would play Matip,
yes,
but I think he'll play Konate.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think in some of the big games, and a lot of the games in Europe this season, he's played Konate, and I do think that could come into play, because no matter what people say, every single team talk up and down the land around Europe, if you're playing Liverpool, is we can get in behind Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yes, he's brilliant, but we can get in behind, and especially when you've got someone like Vinicius. So maybe the pace might sway it. I agree with Maka, I would play Matip, but I think he'll go Konate personally.
But if you don't play Matip, Owen, do you lose the experience that he brings to the side?
I think you do. I can see why you would play Matip, just experience. I think experience is important in this game. I think he might play Konate, just worrying about Vinicius Junior, his athleticism. He's unbelievable, Seema. And I think you'll be a little bit wary maybe of the fact that he gets in that channel, that left-sided channel. He's amazing at it, and I think Konate's just a tiny bit quicker. But let's be honest, they're both fantastic players, so you can't go wrong with either.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a conversation I think we'll all be having up until we get the team news tomorrow. OK, well, sticking with the defence, it's now time to hear from Andy Robertson, who is, of course, such an important part of this Liverpool side. And the reason he's smiling so much there is because he sat down with our Michael Owen to talk about the final earlier on today.
Andy, thanks for joining us. You're getting used to these big games at the moment, or for the last few years. Can you ever get used to them on an occasion like this?
I don't think you can ever get completely used to them, when obviously we've not long landed, now we train, fantastic stadium, a lot of media here, everything like that. So, you're involved in a big game. We're a wee bit more composed than maybe we were in Kiev and things like that, but that's all from experiences. But you still get the nerves, you still get the excitement, and that's exactly how we're feeling, today, tonight, and then tomorrow I'm sure we'll be long until kick-off.
A lot of these big games can be decided on set pieces. Set pieces as a feature of, I think, Liverpool's game, pretty much so this season. Outswingers is always a key, it's always a theme, really. You on the left side and Trent on the right side. Just give me a brief, the positives and negatives, let's say, of an outswinging corner.
Yeah, look, obviously, the positives, first of all, is, if it doesn't go to plan, then we're not too far out of position. That's, that obviously it's quicker for me to recover from the left to the left and Trent right to the right. But also the outswinging corners can cause, problems. I think we've scored probably the most from outswinging corners this season. Not took too many in-swingers, a couple that have obviously worked for us, but, outswingers are a big part from it. And obviously, with the outswingers, it's curling away from the goalkeeper. A lot of goalkeepers now are front-footed to try and come out and collect the ball, and in-swingers, you sometimes have that risk that it just falls into his hand and you're facing a counter-attack. Outswingers, you take that risk out a wee bit more, but obviously the negatives maybe is more likely to hit the front area if it's a poor corner and things like that, easily cleared. But it's up to us to practice that, to try and avoid that. And this season, me and Trent have put a lot of hard work into our corners, and it's paid off on quite a few occasions.
Well, we'll have a look at a couple of the corners that you mentioned. Also, I'm thinking from an attacking point of view, do you think an outswinger is easier to head from the big men at the back post and the near post?
I think definitely that the big lads that are coming up for the corners more often than not ask for outswingers. They like, you can see kind of Virgil there, he can have a full run onto it, whereas in swingers he might be starting a wee bit further in, maybe at penalty spot, and he doesn't get as much of a run, so he can start basically at the edge of the box there, he can run right into it, like obviously this was late in the game against Leeds, but and obviously he's got more than enough time to run and lose his mark, and he gets a free header in the end. So they definitely prefer it, but it's just whatever we're feeling on the day, and if we're happy with the in-swingers, then we do that as well.
You put one arm up on each of those three corners that we saw. We saw one at the back post, two up the near post. Does the one arm up mean anything?
It means something every different game. Every different game. Right, okay. It always changes, because obviously, look, we know every team does analysts now and things like that, and they all look at signals and things like that and what it means, so we try and vary it, we try and mix it up so that the other team that are trying to defend it don't have as much of an idea as maybe we do, so they do mean more things, and obviously tomorrow night one hand will mean something that maybe it meant differently in one of these games.
And we had a little chat on a group chat the other day, and James Milner taking the mick out you a little bit, saying your corners used to be average, but now they're very good. Do you see that? Have you practiced a lot to make them better?
Yeah, 100%. Not like Millie to take the mickey out of me, but it's something that I've worked on. It's something that I looked at my game that I thought that it could improve, and obviously, like the stats there kind of show that. But it's something that I've worked hard on, especially this season. Pre-season is more time to work on it. During the season you've got so many games that sometimes hitting 10 corners isn't the best for your body, but during pre-season I worked really hard on it, tried to get a routine, tried to focus more on it, tried to have my whole routine around it, and I think it's paid off. I still want to get better at it, of course, but I think it's paid off, and now I'm more of a corner kick taker than I was once before, and I think people are, when I'm over the ball, Virgil and that are probably more confident now that I'll put in a good ball than maybe in the previous seasons.
Yeah, and just finally throwing forward to tomorrow's game, I mean, for many, for the neutral, it is the dream final, two of the most successful teams in Europe. How do you see the game panning out? What type of threats are you expecting?
Look, exactly that. The two, Real Madrid are the most decorated team in this competition. They've won it the most times, and they'll be full of confidence to come and try and win this. They've had a fantastic season, and two good teams, two experienced teams going at it. Like you said, both of us are experienced in Champions League finals, so you kind of take that element out of it. But I believe it's always whoever plays better on the night. Whoever takes their chances, whoever's solid in defence, and that's what we have to be. That's what we need to try and be. Look, their attacking threat speaks for itself. Their front three, their midfield is solid, their defence is good. They're good all over the park, but we need to try and find weaknesses, and I'm sure they'll do the same. And it's whoever finds them better than whoever's clinical on the night.
Brilliant. Well, enjoy training and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Top man.
Well done, mate.
It was really a fascinating account there from Andy Robertson. It looked like you really enjoyed that conversation with him. Yeah,
he's great. I mean, really insightful, isn't he? Talking about, how and why they do these outswinging corners. Not everybody does them. The majority of teams do them nowadays, but really interesting to hear some interesting information from him. He's always a good value on the TV.
Yeah, he's very measured as well, isn't he? He's a good person to have, especially in the final. Okay, it's going to be a great show now because we've got more to come your way. We're going to take a break, after which we will focus on the Real Madrid camp, and we're also going to show you what Steve McManaman got up to when he went back to his Los Blancos roots earlier this week, looking very cool in those shades, Macca. And Peter Crouch will join us too after a very busy day in Paris. Look at those moves. He met with Camila Cabello, as you've seen, and Big Zoo, who'll tell us all about it after this.
Welcome back to our preview show for this season's Champions League final. Myself and Rio Ferdinand have found. I think this is a rather nice bar, actually.
Wow, I wouldn't mind seeing the sunset and stuff like that here, would you? With a cup of water. I mean, yeah, that's something else.
Yeah, a bit of water. Lovely view up here. And we were actually just talking about the fact that Rio was lucky enough to see the Champions League through the eyes of a footballer. And now you're lucky enough to see it, I guess, through the eyes of a fan almost. Coming to Paris a day before, walking around, enjoying the sights and sounds. It's a totally different experience of a final to the one that you used to have.
Yeah, even coming out here, we came out here on the Eurostar. You come to the city, immediately there's flags from both teams, fans everywhere filling the bars and the restaurants and the cafes, and you can feel the energy just flying around the city. Whereas as a player, it's so much more vanilla. You get here, your feet don't touch the floor, you get in a hotel, and you kind of put yourself in a bubble. And me personally, I didn't want to really entertain what was going on in the media, because that added to the magnitude of what it was and built it up beyond and bigger than what it needs to be for the day. Because once you start doing that, you lose sight of sometimes what you're here for, and you build that picture to be too big, and then it becomes an intimidating environment. It becomes a scary environment. Yes, you want nerves, but you don't want to be scared. And so you've got to kind of just play down the enormity of the occasion a little bit. It's hard to do with so much access to social media and whatnot, but staying away from the hysteria of which comes with a Champions League visit in a city like this is key to that.
And I'm sure you've all seen the pictures of Jurgen, Klopp and Steven Gerrard enjoying a beer last night in England, which means that Liverpool will obviously come out today. Is that the best way to do it? Fly out the day before the game and almost treat it like almost like a Premier League away game, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, you've got to normalise the situation. So coming out 4 or 5 days before a game isn't normal. So immediately you're off on the wrong footing, I think, and clubs do try to do that. I think Jurgen Klopp being relaxed and being out and about in town, that's fine. He's not playing the game. He's done his job, he's done his work leading up to the game, so the players are very different. They'll want to stay cocooned in that bubble and be very much away from all of the madness that comes to a city like Paris.
Very good. Right, we're going to grab a coffee, continue our prep for tomorrow's final, but we thought we couldn't see this view and not share it with you, and we'll see you tomorrow for the Champions League final. See you soon.
Thanks to Jake and Rio. Beautiful view there of Paris. Well, we have the view of Real Madrid in training ahead of the big final tomorrow. We're keeping our eyes firmly on the training session. We'll keep you posted if we see anything interesting. But they look like they've been working, they were about to start working very hard. The cones are all set up and they will be in full flow very soon. But it's interesting because Rio made that point there about trying to normalise a big occasion like a Champions League final. That sounds to me like it's easier said than done, Mo.
It is, but I think Rio makes a really good point. You know, a lot of people surprised that Liverpool came out today at lunchtime, basically came straight to the stadium to train. They'll go back, they'll have dinner, they'll put their feet up and they'll go to bed. I mean, that is normalising the situation. And Rio's right. You know how big game this is. This is like life-defining, career-defining. It's just the biggest night for, you know, of a lot of players' lives. But you can't build it into something bigger than it already is. Otherwise, you will start getting a bit nervous and different things like that. So I think treating it as a normal game is absolutely right. And that's exactly what they've done. If this was a Champions League group stage match, they would come at this exact time. So, you know, just because it's the final, I don't think you necessarily need to change your routine.
And I get the sense that from watching them train and even from watching Liverpool train earlier, this whole session is just to get a sense of the pitch, really, is it not?
Yeah, get a sense of the pitch, get a sense of the stadium. You don't get a feel for the grass. I mean, Mo mentioned the grass and the pitch that's been relayed. You know, I spoke to James Milner. He said it wasn't great. You know, so I think the players will get a feel for that. But I think as a player, you just want to get out there. You know, you just want to get out there, get a feel for the. You know, both teams know who's going to play, pretty much. You know, all the players, even the, you know, it's not like the subs can get out there and put in a good session and you know, get into starting 11. We know who's going to play for Real Madrid. We know who's going to play for Liverpool. So pretty much all the work's been done, Seema, and you're just waiting for the game to come tomorrow.
What is the pressure like playing for Real Madrid with the expectation that it carries?
It's huge, but that's what you want to play football for. Everybody has expectation. The bigger club you play for, the more successful clubs that you play for demand trophies every single year, and you have to try your best to deliver them. So that's not with expectation and demand. That's why you become a professional footballer. Is to walk up steps and lift trophies. That's what it's all about. And when we were football fans, we loved our teams for doing that. And then when you become a football player yourself, that's what you want to do, to give back to the fans. But these boys now just take it in the stride because they've been here so often. you know, Madrid's record in the Champions League's great. Liverpool have been in it 3 times since 2018, so this is nothing for them, this is just going to be a lovely occasion, which of course they want to win and finish off the season.
They've won it 13 times. It's incredible when you look at their history in this particular competition. What is it that makes them so special in the Champions League or the European Cup?
That badge carries a lot of weight as well against opponents. I think, you know, Real Madrid have been one of the most dominant sides, of course. Their record suggests that. But I think in 10 years we'll look back at this period and we'll see Real Madrid's name on the trophy a lot of times. However, that won't tell the full story, because I don't think in the last 10 years they've actually been the dominant side. They have in terms of the amount they've won it, but if you look at every single time in the last few years that they've started the tournament, they've not even been in the first 3 or 4 favourites. It's always been Man City and Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool and Bayern Munich and teams like that. They've won it and been the underdogs in this last decade, which is incredible, because previously when they've won it, they have been the best. The domination of Barcelona when we were sort of playing as well was there, and that reflects in the trophy. But this Real Madrid team have won it a few times in recent years, and I don't think they've been the dominant side in Europe.
Thing is,
they've got a know-how.
Yeah, they got. I mean, that's the one thing these guys have. I mean, we've all been in teams. Once you get, as a young kid, you can be maybe a bit nervous on this occasion. When you get the experience, you go into this game completely different. You're so confident, and you got Modric, you got Kroos, you got Casemiro, you got Benzema. You know, they have virtually every ingredient they need. I think even Real Madrid will acknowledge Liverpool as favourite. Just the season they've had, the way that they've played. But Real Madrid, with the group of players they have, they know they can look and dress and go, we're going to get a chance.
And they don't mind
five times, Modric. It could be his 5th time tomorrow. I mean, 5 times.
It's unbelievable.
It's incredible.
And Maka, what was it like for you? Because you went back to Madrid yesterday to catch up with the team. What was that experience like?
It was really nice catching up with Carlo and talking to him about his time in the city of Liverpool, of course, with Everton, and watching the lads play, and just seeing a lot of the boys training, and it was a really good atmosphere. But great going back, because there's still people who work here, some of the kit men and physios that were working there when I was there. So it's a real family atmosphere.
Thank you very much.
It really is. And again, like, everybody seems in good spirits and very relaxed ahead of it. I mean, I guess with the Real Madrid players particularly, they've been here and done it before quite a few times.
And particularly the last shot there, as we mentioned, the great Luka Modric.
Exactly.
Coming into his 37th year and still performing like he has been, and some of his passes against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge for the Benzema header, and of course the Rodrygo goal. Absolute superstar and a diamond, a lovely man, which is more important than everything.
Right, gents, are you ready for some squad rotation? Maka, we're going to send you up to the gantry, because you're actually going to be in
good
commentary.
Job I'm fit, isn't it? It's a good job I'm fit.
I know. We'll follow you up there.
That's true.
To join Glenn Hoddle and Darren Fletcher. So you have a lovely little walk up to the gantry, and we've got Peter Crouch who joins us now. Crouchy.
Not the first time I've been substituted.
It's the super sub.
It's when you get subbed off. That's what you don't want. See, you could do this to him later on.
I'm going to save this show now. Plan B.
We needed you. Well, Crouchy, you have been a rather busy man. When we talk about really enjoying the occasion of being in Paris here for the Champions League final, you've enjoyed it. Tell us what you've been up to.
Yeah, you know what? Rio said it. You know, when you're players, you go from the airport to the hotel. You don't sample any of it. So, you know, my 3rd year in retirement now, I thought I'd take it all in. So I've done a lot. I've been everywhere. Yeah, I was interviewing Camila Cabello last night. I was out on a scooter today, sampling. Oh, there she is.
You're teaching her the robot dance. I think she does it better than you, Crouchy.
No, she doesn't. I taught her everything that I know. And there's me on a scooter. All pretty bizarre, really. But
you're the busiest man in Paris.
Well, yeah. I wasn't expecting to do half the things that I did, but it's been and like I say, you know, like usually when you're locked away, when you're playing games, you don't take any of the city in, and as you can see here, I'm having a great time.
Yeah, I can see you are. What did you learn to cook?
Macaroons, believe it or not.
Did they taste good?
Yeah, they tasted all right.
And thank you for bringing some for us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, they were devoured in the hotel, and they went down pretty well.
Brilliant. And Camila Cabello, what was she like then to me?
She was nice. I mean, she looked at me at times and think, who the hell is this person here talking to me? I think, I took her by surprise a little bit, but she was great. I think she's doing the song before the game, so my little girl was really pleased that I'm there.
Oh, I bet she was. But you know what? It's a really interesting point that we've heard from Ria and yourself about enjoying the occasion, and it's just nice to be here for such a big moment and such a good game as well.
Seema, you know, as a player, most players will never get the opportunity to come here and to play in this game. So, of course, it's a business trip. You want to win. but you want to find a way to enjoy it as well. You know, it's the end of a season, it's the last game. You put so much work in as a group of players, as staff, and you want to celebrate with everyone at the end of it.
Absolutely. Well, we sent Macca up to the gantry, so let's see if he made it there. He's gone to join Darren Fletcher and Glenn Hoddle. Have you made it, Macca? I mean, he said it was a test of his fitness. Let's see if he got there. I don't know if he has quite, but we do know that Fletch and Glenn Hoddle are there. Hello!
So
how are you? He has lost his face. He hasn't made it. I thought we gave him a good few minutes there.
No, there is no Macca at the moment. He's got to get into a lift before he can do the stairs, Glenn. It's not quite that straightforward to get here. What we can do in the meantime, while we wait for him, is to kind of find out what you're looking forward to in this final tomorrow, because there are so many fascinating, interesting little cameos out there on the football pitch. I mean, one of the situations I'm looking forward to, Glenn, is how that battle works on the Liverpool right between Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back and Vinicius Jr. on the left-hand side. That's been such a key area for both clubs en route to the final. Real Madrid in particular, the way they've gone about it against some of the bigger sides.
Yeah, it has been, and I think what they've done in the 3 games we've covered, the big games, as you say, from Paris, Chelsea and Man City, is that he sat out. Vinicius, that's the problem he might cause Liverpool tomorrow. If he just sits out, he doesn't have to track all the way back. Somebody else here in that Liverpool midfield might have to have one eye to slide across out there, probably Fabinho. But I think that's a real big tactic that has worked well for Real Madrid, but it's something that Liverpool might have to have a little look at. Liverpool look like a side with Klopp that goes like, we know what we're good at, we appreciate your opponents, but we're good at this, we're going to cause you problems. He's not going to stop the fullbacks going. So I think it's really intriguing to see that area of the pitch, yeah. Plus the high line that they play as well, you know, with Modric in the team. If you're playing against Modric, that could play into his hands. With Vinicius sits out, the pace and the runs that he makes, that's tactically where I would be looking to say there's a danger there from Real Madrid.
In terms of what? Expand on that a little bit, because I know this Liverpool high line and the way that Real Madrid go about it fascinates you heading into the match.
Yeah, well, there's some players in football where you can close them down from 6 or 7 yards and they'll knock it square. With the likes of Modric and Kroos when he's at his best, you have to get really tight. So even if they're 2 yards, they've got half a yard of space, they'll find that killer ball. And that's the difference when you're playing against top quality midfield players. And I think that's when they're at their best. And being a final, they're going to be at their best.
Let's have a bit of romance then, because I'm an old romantic in situations like this. There's a player who's going to wear number 9 for Real Madrid, Karim Benzema, who might well win a Ballon d'Or this season. He's certainly been the best player in the Champions League in terms of production. And then you've got the way that Real Madrid have qualified for this Champions League final. We focus obviously a lot on Liverpool because we see so much of them. But I mean, they should have gone out against PSG, they should have gone out against Chelsea, they should have been beaten by Manchester City, and here they are in Paris for the Champions League final. How much do you rely on romance if you're Real Madrid and say, well, look, name on the trophy, this is our year? Because it certainly feels that way.
Yeah, you can't rely on romance, but what you've said there, Fletch, I'm quite amazed, actually. I'm amazed that Real Madrid are in this final. I mean, over 6 matches, the double legs against those teams, Paris, Chelsea and Man City, I've got to say, they've probably played, 45 minutes, 50 minutes of some vintage, some magical football, and Benzema's been behind it, and they've ended up in the final. I'm scratching my head to understand how they actually got here, but they are a team of experience and they will fancy their chances, although I think Liverpool, with a full side, are the stronger team.
We have good news and bad news. The good news is that Steve McManaman has finally made it. The bad news is, Steve, that for this particular segment, we're out of time.
God, I can't breathe anyway. I had to run up the stairs, the lift was broke.
We did say that it was a long way up.
That wasn't the programme notes, was it, everybody?
We did say that it was a long way up. It's a fantastic view we've got here. Macca's going to take a rest.
I'll be back down now.
Stephen, we're going to hand back to you. Macca's delighted that he ran up here as quick as he did. We've got no time to get any thoughts, but we did manage to get Glenn's thoughts on how he thinks this final is going to be won or lost tomorrow. So we're all excited. Macca needs a rest. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Fletch. That's brilliant. We sent him all the way up there and he made it too late. Well, after the break, we're going to focus on that man there, Carlo Ancelotti, the first manager to reach 5 Champions League finals. We'll talk about the key players as well and their potential match winners. blue skies in Paris. Blue skies.
Field's bouncing to kick off the group stage of the competition. Sheriff have won it. Liverpool become the first English club side to win all 6 games in a group stage.
Real Madrid will top the group and they're looking at growing threat in Europe.
It was hard, but they're through. Liverpool into the last 8. Kylian Mbappe for Paris Saint-Germain. He might be the man who knocks Real Madrid out of the Champions League. Karim Benzema, it's a hat-trick. What a night, what a story.
This game will go down in history.
Liverpool, for the 12th time in their history, into the semi-finals.
Karim Benzema is unstoppable. And Chelsea are all the way back. It's over. Real Madrid are through to the last 4. Liverpool's lead in the semi-final is gone, and Liverpool are heading to Paris for the Champions League final. Astonishing night. It's finished Manchester City 4, Real Madrid 3. Oh my word! It's Rodrygo again! What a comeback! And the 13 times winners will play Liverpool in Paris.
Well, both teams have had very different routes to the final, but how incredible has it been to watch them both? And speaking of routes, let's talk about Steve McManaman and his route up to the gantry and then back again.
Hey.
That was some of your best work up there.
I know, I thought it was. I thought I looked the part.
How are you
and now I'm back
now?
down here because, of course, we need more people down here. Don't we, to talk?
Well, there you go. There you go. Running back.
Not out of breath.
We appreciate the effort to get back.
Anything
we
for
really
BT.
do. Oh, brilliant. Well, we've just seen how different their journeys, both the teams are, to have got to this stage. But Owen, it's been remarkable to see how Real Madrid have managed to beat PSG, Chelsea, Man City over 2 legs, coming from behind in all 3 of them. They have been brilliant to watch.
Look, and Seema, they've been outplayed in every one of those games. I mean, it's a miracle, really, that they're here. But that's what you get. You know, with experience, they got Carlo Ancelotti, one of the coolest, calmest people in football. They never get stressed, and they found a way to get to a final. I wouldn't put past them, you know, going on to win it, because just feels like maybe one of those seasons for them. You know, when you knock out Chelsea, Man City and PSG, I mean, that is...
I mean, all league winners. Inter Milan in the group stage, who won the Italian league last year. I mean, you can go on. Chelsea, who of course, this cup's holders, who've won the World Club Super Cup, to do them and beat then the English champions. I mean, it's surreal how they've got here.
It is. Nobody predicted it at the start. And then Liverpool, of course, had that history-making group stage as well, where they went unbeaten.
Yeah, well, they breezed through. I mean, people said that group was difficult, and Liverpool just made mincemeat out of it. They were blistering, scored goals. You know, didn't concede many, and then through the groups, the knockout stage as well. But I thought that Villarreal was a scare first half, but again they were blistering in the second half and blew them away deservedly. in the Champions League final.
Well, the game may be 24 hours away, but the fans have been arriving here in Paris and they are loving every second of this build-up. Of course, Real Madrid fans in town, which means Kylian Mbappe is probably somewhere in hiding. And we've also seen some of the Liverpool faithful have also arrived early as they look to put their Premier League disappointment well and truly behind them and look forward to the prospect of a brilliant treble and being champions of Europe once again. Well, let's get a sense of how both sets of fans are feeling ahead of the final.
We love the city, we love the ambience, everybody is like crazy about the final.
Best time of my life. Enjoying it so much.
We came from Mexico. We traveled 24 hours to be here. It's our fifth Champions League final.
I came over from Singapore, so I've been following Liverpool since I remember.
The atmosphere is unbelievable. Not expecting anything like this before, so it's going to be a good experience. Just got to keep getting better.
I think it's going to be 4-2 Liverpool, to be honest. I think it's going to be a good counter-attacking game, fast-paced, quality players all over the pitch.
It's going to be a pretty nervy game. We've got to respect Real. They're obviously 13-time European champions.
There's always a story to tell with Liverpool in finals. Istanbul, prime example.
Well, we think that Real Madrid is going to win. I bet for a 1-2 Real Madrid.
3-0 Liverpool. 3-0.
And I bet for a 2-0 Real Madrid. 2 goals of Karim Benzema.
We're going to come out of the box, we're just going to hit some hard, and that's all we go. Yeah. Come on the Reds.
Brilliant to get the perspective of the fans. Well, it's now time to get the perspective from some of the players. And of course, Real Madrid dream of being crowned champions of Europe for the 14th time. We're also going to hear from Ancelotti. We'll hear from Courtois, who both caught up with Des Kelly earlier on today.
Excited, calm, confident, as usual. I think it's too early to be nervous, and also the team is focused, quiet. I think the atmosphere is good, but cannot be different because it will be a fantastic game. Happy to be here.
It's only my second final. The first didn't go so well by losing, so obviously I know what it took to come here again, and hopefully tomorrow with a better result.
I think it was not an advantage and not a disadvantage. We had the possibility to prepare well the team, to recover the player that had problem like Alaba, so we have all the squad available, and I think it was a good time for us, and it's still a good time. And tomorrow we will see.
It will be a hard game. We know the strengths of Liverpool. It's a great team. They attack really well the space behind the defense. They have fast strikers. They score easily. So I think it's just like the differences will be in the box. You know, if we can score easily up front and we can stop them from scoring, I think that will be the key.
It will be a really exciting game, really entertaining game. I think everyone at this point of the competition, you have to be able to show your quality. Don't look a lot. We are not looking a lot about Liverpool also because Liverpool we know, and we know each other really, really well. There is no secret for this game. They have a lot of quality. We have a lot of qualities, and for football tomorrow, I think both teams will show their qualities.
No doubt both teams will show their quality, and they have a quality manager leading them as well, Owen.
One of the best. I mean, only manager to win in the 5 European leagues, top 5 European leagues. I mean, amazing. I would have loved to have played under a guy like that. As cool as he is, as calm as he is.
Looks cool in that cap as well, doesn't he?
Honestly, he's amazing, and I think he gets this group of players because you can't do it with stress with these experienced players. He just wins trophies. That's what the man does.
And he's been praised a lot, rightly so, for his man management and how he's managed to sort of transcend different generations and still get the best out of the players he works with.
Yeah, exactly. He's done it for so long, and everyone you speak to, I speak to the boys at Chelsea, just absolutely loved working for him. You know, as you say, his man management, obviously his record speaks for itself, but he's personable, he's likeable, and he wins trophies, which is the most important thing.
First manager to reach 5 Champions League finals. That tells you everything, doesn't it, Maka?
Yeah, as Owen said, winning the league in the five different leagues. You know, his record speaks for itself, and he's the right type of manager, as Owen said. You don't want any stress when you're managing Real Madrid. You need a manager like him, Zizou before him was the same type. Vicente Del Bosque, who was my manager, was the same. Nice and calm. Just exuded an air of confidence, gets on very well with the players and can manage the players quite easily. He's an absolute superstar. Everybody who comes across him says exactly the same, and you wish him all the best, you really do.
And let's not forget, he's made some inspired substitutions over the course of this Champions League campaign, and one of those players that he's brought on from the bench is Rodrygo, who made such an impact in the Manchester City game.
Yeah, he certainly has. And we spoke before about all the games that they've played and how on earth they're through to this final. But on the flip side, you can say, well, they've had the hardest run through the whole competition. They've played some of the most talented teams Europe has to offer. And together with Benzema, I mean, who's been the superstar really of the tournament, this guy has changed some games as well. Can score goals. You know, he's dangerous in the box. Of course, Liverpool are going to have to look at 2 or 3 players in particular to try to stop tomorrow. I do think that Liverpool have got more players that will potentially hurt Madrid than the other way around, but he's certainly one that they're going to have to keep an eye on. But how they've got to this stage, as everyone said, is incredible. But let's not forget who they've been playing, because they've been a real high standard of teams.
Yeah. They have, and the fact that we're still stood here talking about Karim Benzema, who has been phenomenal and a game changer for Real Madrid this season.
Yeah, I mean, he's a perfect centre forward. You know, whether you talk about Harry Kane or Robert Lewandowski, he's had the best season of any centre forward I think we've seen in a very long time. He just scores every goal. Obviously, him and Vinicius Jr. have an amazing partnership, but that guy is just the perfect centre forward. He's just so elegant, so graceful, but his goal scoring is just is amazing.
Let's talk about Camavinga as well. Another substitution. He's had a lot of impact from the bench, and he's so young as well.
He is. He's a baby, isn't he? And they've just brought him
19 years old.
Yeah, and it's the fact that he has to come on and change games, but that's all you can do. That's all you can ask for in your substitutions. When you come onto the pitch, have an impact on the game, change the way the game is being going, because that's why you're being put on. And him, like Rodrygo, have been absolutely excellent. And when you speak about Madrid and you speak about the age of the midfielders, Modric, Toni Kroos, Casemiro, you also know that now you've got Fede Valverde, you've got the likes of him in the background waiting to take over. So, real bright future for Real Madrid.
Of course, beating Manchester City would have given this team so much confidence and belief. Not that they needed more belief, because they've got it in abundance, but that would have given them something coming into this game against Liverpool.
Yeah, and also I don't think they mind, you know, how the game goes. You know that Liverpool come at them with their energy, you know, come after them with their press, and they're not too worried if Liverpool are having the better of the game, because they know they can always be in the games, and they've got ability and players to score and the character to stay in the game and potentially win it.
And those were the scenes after that City win. You wouldn't expect anything different to that. It was a brilliant victory for them.
It was an astonishing victory. How they won it, we still talk about it. We still don't know how they got through, but Real Madrid do get through to these competitions. That's what they do, and they have done. And as Mo said before, the fact that they've done it the hard way, and let's be honest, if they win it and beat Liverpool, you'd think it'd be one of the greatest victories ever with the teams and the way they've done it. So they have to do it, and you know. But it's when they get to this stage, they normally complete the business, don't they?
And what I find really interesting is so many people are having the conversation about Real Madrid. When will their luck run out? It can't be luck, surely. This cannot be luck to have beaten the teams that they've beaten to get to this stage.
Absolutely not. And you could look at them and say how unlucky have they been to have to play all the top teams throughout this tournament. And let's be frank as well, Liverpool have had a lovely path through. At every stage, Benfica, Villarreal, even Inter Milan, to get to the final, only having to play them. It's been a really lucky run through. So they deserve to be here, no question about it. And as Maka says, when they get here, they invariably win. They've
actually looked, as we've watched them in training today, they've looked like they've trained with a lot more intensity than Liverpool did. Yeah,
they trained a bit harder. I think they had I think Liverpool were just stretching the legs, literally just getting used to the pitch, getting the feel for the pitch. But no, it's been good so far.
Okay, it has been good, and that's it from us, I'm afraid. Thank you, gents. It's been great. You can have a rest and a sit down. You've done a lot of running. Thank you for your company. Don't forget, we are on air for the big final build up from 6 o'clock tomorrow on BT Sport. We'll see you then. Goodbye.
Took a breath, let it go. Felt the moment settle so. couldn't wait to tell you why I'm standing here with this awkward smile. And that's because I could find myself in someone like you. I could dive so deep I'll never come out, but it was impossible. It's you to make it possible. Love it stings and then it laughs at every beat of my battered heart. Sudden joy, a tender kiss. I know I'm gonna lie with you, and that's because I could drown myself in someone like you.
This is sensational. Body coming in. Disaster for Manchester United.
I'll take the smooth in the road. Stuck in my head, but you pull me up. You pull me up. I could go.
It's 53 for De Bruyne.
Like you. I could go so deep I'll never come out.
The stage is set here. Karim Benzema is unstoppable.
You make it possible.
Oh, brilliant.
Somebody told me
The mighty Bayern are beaten. It's D-Day for Chelsea. Mason Mount.